Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is Jim with Sketching with Jim, and for today's video I thought I'd change it up a little bit, and I'm using a pen I bought online, the Jinhao 82. It's an inexpensive pen from the Jinhao company in China, and which I find very good. Excellent nib and flow of ink. But as I said in my previous video, sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you don't. But this one turned out really well. And for the ink, I'm using a brown ink by Octopus Inks. It's called the Write and Draw ink, and the color is Brown Penguin. And I'm really liking the difference of drawing in a different color other than black. And as you can see, I'm back at the FoxFire Museum in Georgia, USA, drawing another of their beautiful log buildings. I thought I'd explain a little bit of the perspective. I don't draw the guidelines on the page. You can, for sure, have guidelines to help you along with the initial shape of the drawing and the perspective. Anyway, this is how I see it in my mind. You establish the eye level, the eye line, which is the same as horizon. And on those lines, either way, are vanishing points where the lines converge. There are many videos on perspective and many books, and once you have it in your mind, you don't have to have everything exact, but as close as you can, because if the perspective is off a little bit, it looks wrong. I don't always get it right. Many times I've started a drawing, especially in the field where it's a little bit harder, and I've got the perspective wrong and it throws everything off. Sometimes you can correct it though. Once you've established the perspective lines in your head, then you can see the basic shape of the building. And once you've got that, you just continue on. The next thing I did after establishing the main lines is to put that window, the large window, in approximately the center of that wall, and then you can get once you've got that height, then you can get the height of the door and the window on the front, following those perspective lines, of course. Angles and distances just come with practice and studying the photograph to see how things line up. Looking at the edge of the door, for example, and going up until you see where the chimney sits in relation to that. For this drawing, for this sketch, I thought I'd just concentrate on the ink work and hatching. And this, I really like the way this ink is working so far, and it is also waterproof. So after laying it down and letting it dry for, it can be used with watercolor, which I really am looking forward to trying. And this ink color really for me, it really lends itself to the old structures and the old houses and barns. It's almost like seeing an old photograph in a sepia color. And for those that haven't watched my other video where I did drawings of the log buildings at the FoxFire Museum, or people that don't know about FoxFire, it's quite an interesting and fascinating project completed by a bunch of school kids and their teacher as a project. And they went around to their relatives and neighbors in the mountains of the Appalachians and collected information and stories about how life was in the mountains and the old ways of doing things, the old ways of building, cooking, raising crops and animals. And they produced a whole bunch of books called the FoxFire books, I think. And if you ever get a chance to look at them, they're fascinating. They're really informative and quite an interesting look into the old ways of doing things in the woods, in the mountains, which has always fascinated me, even as a child. Growing up in England, I always pictured coming to Canada and homesteading. I never did do that, but together with my wife, we did build a log house in Ontario with our own trees that we cut from our own land. So in a way, I almost lived that idea. Once you've got the basic outline and the shape of the house and whatever, it's just a matter of establishing where the shadows are and the darks and the lights, and doing a lot of hatching. These are single lines parallel to each other, and you do them closer together, you get a darker shade. You do them further apart, you get a lighter shade. I set the camera to going, and then I just started drawing, letting the drawing lead where it might, not quite having a plan of how detailed or how or what the background would be like, or the So as I'm drawing, I'm just establishing the lights and the darks, and not doing the final darkness right away, so that I can build up the layers of darkness and hopefully end up with the contrast and the darkness I need, and the lights I need. I'm trying to keep all the detail in the house itself, keeping everything, the background and the foreground, and even the ground around the house, quite simple and not overly detailed. And because it's I believe this was March, so it was the springtime down in Georgia, and none of the leaves were on the trees yet. So the drawing of the trees was quite a simple affair, without having the complication of the leaves. Sometimes this can help, but sometimes not. In a lot of drawings, I just do large masses of leaves. You don't really have to do a lot of branch and trunk drawing. The drawing of the trunks and the branches like this is quite enjoyable. It's a nice time of year to see the actual shape of the trees themselves. I also think that the vertical lines does go well and contrast the horizontal lines of the log building. It's a design element that I don't really think a lot about, but in this case I think it just kind of developed itself. And there was one small tree at the foreground that kind of overlapped the building, so I thought I would put that in as well to connect to the building to the rest of the picture. I'd like to, at a future time, start making more of a story with the artwork I'm doing. I'm reading one artist's book now. It's not a recent book, and I can't remember the name of the fellow right now. Wait a minute, I'll just go over and pick that book up. What's wrong with me anyway? Okay, the name of the book is Capture the Charm of Your Hometown in Watercolor by Frank Luden. What he does is, as he travels around and he gathers material for his paintings. So he'd photograph an interesting car or an interesting old store or gas station, maybe some washing on a line and people in a yard. What he'd do is take a lot of these different reference ideas and put them into one painting. I thought that was great, and his paintings are amazing, how he comes out with actual scenes that tell a story. And I think this is something that would be good to do. I would really enjoy that, I think. So I'm always trying to imagine stories of different places. So if you could actually put some elements in the drawing to show that would be great. I decided to put the massive, a darker area in the background. Kind of gives the idea of the hill and the dense forest in the back. And it also gives somewhere for the viewer's eye to stop, so that you just don't wander out of the picture into the sky. And rather than putting a lot of detail of leaves or groundwork in the background, I just do a few kind of a shadowy areas. And then as I do the background and notice the tones, I keep adding to the tonal values of the house itself. So that slowly the house, which is the center of interest, stands out from the background. And this is a slow, relaxed process. It's very enjoyable. And once you've got the basic drawing down, the additions and the making some of the lines stronger and darker and adding some more shadow, it's the fun part of it. Once you know you've got the basic shape and you're happy with that. As long as you're careful and don't rush it and end up doing too many details or too dark in one area. Because unlike pencil, you can't really lighten up an area after you've made it too dark when you're using the pen. And you can see how after darkening some of the lines, the house does start to stand out from the background. Putting some stronger shadows in there. And to make sure that, or to help you not put too much in or make something too dark or whatever, every once in a while stand up and stand back, take a look at it from a distance, kind of squint your eyes at it maybe sometimes, and you could even leave it overnight, come back the next day and have a look at it. And it works two ways. I've done something and I've spent half an hour or an hour on it, and then thought, oh no, that didn't work at all. I'm just going to leave it. And I look at it the next day, and then, well, that's not too bad. I don't mind that at all. And then sometimes you look at it the next day and say, oh yeah, that's. Perspective is definitely out, and that's what was bothering me. Because sometimes you can just sense something, but you can't quite put your finger on it. What you've done wrong. I'm adding a few of stones here and there just to show that there is stonework there without doing every single stone. You could, and in a certain style of drawing, every single stone is what you would want to do. But this is just kind of a sketch and a representation of the subject. Few squiggles in here and there will give the impression that there's leaves or stones or whatever on the ground, and that's all you need. Now, this is one of those moments I stood back, looked at it, and realized that that roof line was going straight into the line of the dark area of the trees in the background. And it really bothered me, but I didn't see it before. So I just did another line there, did some dark so that the roof line doesn't just go right into the ground line, and it worked a lot better for me. One thing I wasn't sure about after I did it was I did one of the background trees coming from the center of the chimney. But now that after doing everything else, it really doesn't stand out that much. It kind of blends in with the rest of the background. So that works okay. Just something to keep in mind for another time, I guess. So I'm slowly just making certain lines stronger, certain lines darker, and standing back and seeing how that looks. Getting some nice contrast in there to make the house stand out from the background. Almost like that was in focus and the background is out of focus, as in a photograph. And this drawing is a little larger than the drawings I've done so far on this channel. Although it is still only an 8" by 8" drawing pad. So it's not huge, but it is larger. I'm able to put a lot more detail in it. And I think as I darken up the edges there, I'm seeing it start to pop out from the background. Give it some dimension. And those little tiny birds way off in the distance say that's about it for this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one and I didn't babble too much. I kind of enjoyed how this one came out. And I'll see you all again, and happy drawing. Take care.